This episode of The Young Turks is brought to you by Click It or Ticket. You know why? Because wearing a seatbelt is damn sexy.
Bill Clinton and Paul Ryan are at an event for the Pete Peterson Foundation. I will come back to that because it's relevant to the story. But they get caught, unbeknownst to them, on a camera talking to one another about the election and Paul Ryan's plan and Medicare. Let's watch that.
Hey, Paul Ryan.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I'm glad we won this race in New York, but I hope the Democrats don't use it as an excuse to do nothing.
My guess is it's going to sink into paralysis is what's going to happen. And you know the math. I mean, it's just we knew we were putting ourselves out there, but you got to start this. You got to get out there. You got to get this thing moving.
If you don't want to talk about it,
yeah, I'll give you a call. Great, thanks.
That is pretty disappointing to say the least. So there's Bill Clinton saying, hey, we won this election, but don't get me wrong, we still want to cut Medicare. So, and later he says, call me, right? So let's talk about this and how we actually have to cut Medicare after all. You see, it's disappointing because, as you can tell, all the bluster of the Democrats is just politics. You know, they're trying to get reelected, of course, like everybody knows that, right? But you would think that the politics was so obvious that it might get them to think, hey, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't help these guys cut one of the most popular programs in government history, in United States history. But no, behind the scenes, they're perfectly happy to do that. You think it's just Bill Clinton? Steny Hoyer said Medicare's on the table. He's the second in charge for the Democrats in the House. Joe Biden said we got to talk about big ticket items. That means Medicare, okay? And they're doing those negotiations right now. Democrats are going to give that gift right back to the Republicans. They're going to help them cut Medicare, and it's going to be a disaster. I hope not. I hope when they say they're going to reform Medicare, they actually mean that. And there are different ways to reform Medicare that I think are perfectly fine. Now, you know, Nancy Pelosi's talking about it. Jared Bernstein, the man who used to be the chief economist for Vice President Biden, was on my MSNBC show today at 6 o'clock, and he said that they are going to negotiate drug prices with the drug companies. Now, that's interesting news because that means that they would have to get a new bill that would take away a part of the health care bill that President Obama passed. Well, I would love that. That would be a great way of lowering Medicare prices. Okay, so there are right ways to do it. I'm afraid that they're not going to go in that right direction. Now, part of the reason is, as you can tell, Bill Clinton and people behind the scenes saying, oh, we'll cut Medicare. Work with us, Ryan. Don't worry. Second reason is where they are. They're at the Pete Peterson Foundation. Pete Peterson is a man who is one of the richest people in the world who put $1 billion into that foundation. You know what the point of that foundation is? It's to so-called balance the budget. Now, that's fine. Balancing the budget is a good idea. But the Peterson Foundation says we should not do through tax increases, of course, right? We should do it mainly by cutting entitlement programs like Social Security and Medicare. Look, there's a lot of rich people in this country who have put a lot of money behind, hey, you know what? Do not take our money. Do not tax us at all above what we are now. In fact, we want it to go lower, and that's why Paul Ryan's plan actually lowers taxes for people like Pete Peterson from 35% to 25%. We want you to find the money. We don't want you to get it from us. We want you to get it from the middle class, from the people who paid into Social Security, from the people who paid into Medicare. We want you to rob them. That's what Pete Peterson wants you to do. And by the way, Pete Peterson brags about how charitable he is because he gave $1 billion to an entity that wants to rob the middle class of their Social Security and Medicare to pay the rich. That's their idea of charity. And what's happening there? President Bill Clinton is speaking there, Paul Ryan is speaking there, and it happens over and over. I can't tell you the number of Democrats that have spoken at Pete Peterson events. Why? Because he's got a lot of money, and those politicians love that money. So behind the scenes, they're going to come for your programs.
Did you know that men are actually less likely than women to wear their seatbelts? Which I don't understand. Not wearing your seatbelt makes you look like an idiot. I'm not kidding. Whenever I see someone who's not buckled up, I think, idiot. Because it could save your life. So do it. Just buckle up.